Welcome to Forward Ever, Leading in Challenging Times, presented by Worth Wealth Management, a weekly conversation with area leaders about how to persevere during uncertain times. Now here's your host, Gary Shorman.
Hi, everyone, and welcome once again to Forward Ever, Leading in Challenging Times. Well, we have a great guest today on our program, mainly because not only does this guest love dogs, but we talk about something that I hadn't learned about, and I'm learning about today. When you're listening in, you'll get to learn about it too. It's called Canine Vest Midwest, and our guest is Emily Fawcett, who's founder and director of that program. Emily, good to have you on our program.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate being here.
You know, one of the things that we always talk about challenging times on this, and one of the things that happens, dogs are out helping officers around the state all the time. Sometimes they're unappreciated, but gosh darn it, these dogs are helpful all along. And we're going to hear and talk about a couple of things that have happened along the way. But Emily, what did you do to get started with the Canine Vest Midwest program? What got that started?
Yeah, so honestly, I've been in the animal industry in some capacity for the last 26 years, whether it's been doing animal rescue or being on the medical side of it in vet care. Um, just filling a lot of, I don't know, fulfilling my love for animals and in some capacity. And I was also with law enforcement, so I was with the Riley County Police Department for a little bit of time, and so I've honestly just married the two. So my love for dogs and my love for law enforcement, and I founded Friends of the Canine Vest Midwest. And honestly, I get people reach out to me a lot when they see like an injustice being done to an animal, because I kind of am one of those people that my dad has always taught me, when you fight for what's right, you'll never be wrong. And so people would reach out to me a lot. And there was a situation in the state of Kansas with a canine, and I jumped all in to advocate for this canine. And in doing so, I found out that they were working without ballistic vests because there just wasn't the funding for that. And again, I saw an injustice being done and turned it into action and created this foundation so that we could provide for our canine officers.
So when you started this, did you ever have anybody question that this is important? You think about this, our officers and law enforcement wear vests. These
Right.
dogs now have a vest that helps protect them
Right.
when you have things going on. So when I was interested, your dad that got kind of you thinking about this. Was he your mentor to this whole program?
Oh, my dad is my hero. My dad, there's just not enough adjectives in the English language to describe my father and who he still is and everything that he's done. He was a legislator, and he was one of those guys that he put away the politics to just do what's right for the people. And he always kind of taught us. At night he would sit us down and he would say, "Were you the best human being you could have been today? And if you ever answered yes, you were wrong, because you could always do something better the next day." And so we'd always be like, "Oh, no, Dad, I probably could have done better." And he'd be like, "Try again tomorrow." And
What?
so he's always just kind of taught us to lead with our heart and to always just fight for the little guy. And when I was working with law enforcement, I had a vest, and in the department that I was in didn't have a canine at the time, so it just never really struck me that a canine would ever be working without one. So again, I saw a need, and my dad was chirping in my head to do this thing. And so of course I concocted this idea one night, and I called my dad and I said, "What do you think?" And he's like, "Your mom and I are behind you 100%. Let's do it." So never turned back.
I love that mission, though. What could I do better today to help make someone's life better? And there's always
Mhm.
something out there you can do, and it's a great mission for us. So I want to talk about one particular story that happened near our area of Hays,
Mm.
Kansas, and it was the semi. People may remember that there was a semi that was off the road. They were correcting or trying to get it back on. Then there was a distracted driver. Oh, could that ever happen? That struck Trooper Budke's highway patrol vehicle, and his canine partner, Igor, was in the kennel in that vehicle, and Igor was hurt. was rushed to intensive care to a local veterinarian for treatment and spent some time there, but it's now, the good news is Igor is back on duty. How did you learn about Igor and what did you do after that?
I mean, it wasn't hard to learn about Igor. I have a group chat with all the guys, with all the handlers that I've worked with, and all the handlers that I'm getting ready to work with. And so it wasn't hard to come across what had happened to him. And at that time, we were also kind of advocating for what happened with Canine Bane in Wichita. And one of my dogs is barking. So trying to get his attention. So it wasn't hard to come across that story. And of course, everybody would start reaching out to me because it's funny. People think that because with Friends of the Canine Vest, they just kind of assume that I know everything, and so people were reaching out to me and they're like, oh my gosh, what happened? What happened? What happened? And leave your brother and sisters alone right now. So it wasn't hard to come across it. And of course, I reached out to Travis immediately and said, what can we do? And that's kind of, we've turned this more into not just vesting these canines, but what else do you need? Is there a medical need? Is there anything that the handler needs? And so I reached out to him immediately and we just kind of started talking about it. And he was sending me pictures and I was like, we're here for you. And whatever you need us to do, if he's going to need special equipment, if he needs his medical needs met, anything. And of course, it was the great news that he went home and he recovered. And I was like, okay, he's been through all this trauma. Now it's time to vest him. So he was always a dog that we wanted to vest. It just turns out we were able to do it to honor a friend that passed away in July and pay it forward in her memory. So it was an honor to get to do that.
What a great story, because the dog is back at work now with a vest. You're working now and you have several dogs that are wanting to be on the program with you and do that. So that's really cool. Obviously, you love animals. You love dogs that are there, that are part of it. When you see something happen like that to a canine, obviously that played into what you were wanting to get done. How many dogs have you helped with Vest? Is that just getting started or is that something you want to continue to grow?
Oh, it's getting huge. In fact, I just posted this morning the memory about us being on the Kelly Clarkson show. So a year ago, we made it to the Kelly Clarkson show. So we're doing big things. We're getting recognized. And of course, that's the hope, right? That we just keep this ball rolling and keep doing all the good that we're doing. Igor was the 13th dog that we got to vest. And we've provided food for canines that are in need of food. There's just some of these municipalities that just don't have the funding for certain things. There's other dogs that we've helped with medical needs or retirement needs that they have, so that doesn't become a burden to the handler. But if we're talking about vesting, he was our 13th canine to vest. And as I'm sitting here with all my rescue dogs like barking in the background, I've got my pen and paper here and working on a bunch of fundraisers and the needs of other canines. So it doesn't stop. And so we need everybody's support to help us keep doing the magic. But we've got a lot that we still have to do to finish 2024 strong. And I already have a list of officers waiting for their needs to be met in 2025. So yeah, it's
how many is on that list? How many is on your list, Emily?
If I'm looking at it right now, we have 8 canines waiting to be vested. And then we have some that have retirement needs, because we have a couple canines that are getting ready to retire. So there's needs of those canine guys to be met. And there's one officer who would like some food for his canine. So
all right. Well, hey, talk about the vest just a little bit. Do you go to Amazon or Walmart or Costco and buy a vest? Where do you go to find a vest like this for a dog?
Right. We have a beautiful partnership with our friend Josh with Canine Tactical. And this is the guy that makes like the vests, right? The creme de la creme, the Cadillac of all vests. And this is what the handlers want. And his vests are incredibly specific to every single canine. So these canines go into crawl spaces, attics, cars, and stuff like that. So we can't let them get caught up on things. So it's incredibly important that it fits them like a glove. So every single vest that we create is literally like a fingerprint. It's only going to fit that canine. It won't fit another canine. And that way there's no gapping and whatnot. So if they're chasing a suspect and they're being shot at, there's not that gap for that bullet to enter or the knife. But also, like, if they're going into a crawl space, they're not going to get caught up on something. So each one of these vests is made specifically for every single canine. They undergo a rigorous measurement process and a test fitting before the actual vest is created. The vest can withstand 5 9mm rounds at point blank range. And in our partnership with Josh, we're now moving on to create vests for the game warden canines. And also just yesterday, we launched the vests that we're also going to be making for search and rescue dogs. So those dogs are out doing tracking and cadavering and stuff like that too.
Wow, what an operation to do. And you
Yes.
know what? There's a way, and I know you need funding to help do this. I'm going to take a quick break. We'll come back and talk about how to find you. And I know you have some locations on Facebook, online as well, to find you. And if you love pets, and if you love these dogs that are out working dogs that are trying to help us in many ways, we'll get that information to you. So everybody out listening, hang on for just a second. Our guest is Emily Fawcett, who's with the special guest of Canine Vest Midwest. Back with more after this.
Since 1776, the United States of America continues to stand tall. It's been tested before, many times. Through grit and the ability to move forward, we create better tomorrows. We help our clients live their best lives to and through retirement. We make it easier. Thank you, Kansas. Worth Wealth Management, enhancing lives and strengthening families.
Welcome back to Forward Ever, leading in challenging times. If you love guests, or if you love dogs, you're going to love our guest here. And she does a wonderful job of helping canines that help protect us. And it's called Canine Vest Program, or actually Canine Vest Midwest. They put vests on dogs to help keep dogs safe, and have been involved with multiple dogs. Talk about your fundraising program, because this doesn't happen without a little bit of magic in the background, and that magic being people who help support that. Where do people go to find out more?
So they can go and find us we're on all social media platforms. So we're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook probably being our most active. So just go find Friends of the Canine Vest Midwest, and you'll find us. And we have fundraisers all the time. I think literally every single weekend for like the past month and a half, we've had a fundraiser. We have one with Subaru coming up this weekend on Saturday. And we couldn't be more proud of the partnerships that we have with some of the bigger names that are starting to really want to grab hold of what we're doing and participate. So we have like Boulevard Brewing Company, AT&T, Subaru, just to name some of the bigger ones. But we definitely, I think we have some fundraisers that we're planning out in Hayes, Kansas. And otherwise, we have a bunch in Junction City, Kansas City, Lawrence area, and we always try to make them a lot of fun for everybody. But if you're feeling the need to donate, we're also on PayPal and Venmo, or go to our Facebook page and hit that donate button. But we'd love to see you come to our fundraisers too. We sell a lot of canine art, so a lot of the canines paint, and that's where we get a lot of our funding. So.
Yeah, that sounds fun. Now, tell me, how did you end up with companies like Subaru and Boulevard Brewing? Boulevard is Kansas City, so I can see that would be somewhat based Midwest. Subaru is a big international company. How'd you end up with them as a sponsor? That's really cool.
It is really cool. I'm incredibly excited. It's a brand new partnership. Honestly, I got a bunch of phone calls from AT&T over a course of period of time, and I thought I'm with Verizon. So I was just like, why are they calling? Are they trying to like sell me an iPhone or sell me service or something? And I felt really horrendous because I kept pushing the guy off, and finally I answered the phone, and he's like, I've been trying to get a hold of you. We've been following what you do, and we want to participate. And I was like, oh, okay. And then kind of the same thing with Subaru. I guess they just saw what I'm doing, and Subaru has that Share the Love event. So Subaru really loves to pay it forward in any capacity. And so one of their managers just reached out and was like, you're involved with with FEMA first responding, you do animal rescue, now you do this canine thing. And so you kind of encompass everything that's really important to us as a company. So do you mind coming and sitting down and having a discussion with us? And can we have a partnership with you? And so sure. I walked in and Jason is one of the managers there, and he was just like, "Wow, you're likable." It's like it's easy. It's easy to like want to sit with you and conduct business and do something good with you. And I was like, "Well, good." So
Oh, that's great.
it's turned into something, yeah. And that's just kind of I think it's just word of mouth gets out, and people. I don't care how you feel about law enforcement because that can always like lead to a political discussion. And no matter what, you love the dogs, right? And so we can do a lot of healing and a lot of community policing with the use of the animals, and it can heal a lot of people, and it can just start conversations. I'm a firm believer that we can solve every single world problem with dogs and beer. And I can't drink at a lot of these functions with law enforcement, but we sure can talk about the dogs. And so we're halfway there in my eyes.
I kind of like that thought. Dogs and beers solve the world's problems. Not a bad
Absolutely.
mantra to go by. So you go on, if you go to Facebook, it's maybe it's the website, Friends of the Canine Vest Midwest.org, correct?
Correct.
So just put that in your search bar and go find it, and hope you make a contribution. Hope you make at least take a look at what all the great things that you're doing. And so thanks so much, Emily, for joining us. And thanks for all you do to not only
well,
help
thank you.
protect the dogs, but in turn, help protect all of us.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Our guest today on Forward Ever has been Emily Fawcett, and she does a great job of taking care of those dogs out there that you may see on the highway, you may see in town, you may see them protecting us or rescuing us in one way, shape, or form. You can go help find them if you go and look at Friends of the Canine Vest Midwest, and hopefully you will contribute to the cause. Our program is brought to you by Worth Wealth Management, where you can live with confidence. I'm Gary Shorman.
Thanks for joining us for Forward Ever, Leading in Challenging Times, presented by Worth Wealth Management. Join us right here next week for another episode with host Gary Shorman. Until then, remember to move forward ever, backward never.